I think that's really one of the big reasons for being a social entrepreneur, trying to bring social change, impact at scale, trying to make a living from it at the same time, but it's doubly rewarding because you're obviously making an impact.
Welcome to Global Socialpreneurs, a one-of-a-kind talk show showcasing expert social entrepreneurs. Learn their stories and their secrets to creating a sustainable impact. Now, here is your host, social entrepreneur Anne Scottlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Global Socialpreneurs. So happy to have you here with us today. Thanks for jumping in and hearing a brand new episode we have today with Dr. Manoj Krishna. More on that in just a moment. If you would please do subscribe to whatever platform you're watching, or if you like, go directly to my YouTube channel. We are building that out, and if you would like to like and subscribe on there as well, that would be fantastic. We're also airing on E360 TV and USA Global TV, so please support our platforms. I'm really excited today to have a guest on here that I just met recently, but has such a passion for the world and such a big heart as he works as a social entrepreneur, and I can't wait to have you meet him here in just a few moments. His name is Dr. Manoj Krishna, and he used to be a spine surgeon before he left that business, I think for many years, like 30 years, a spine surgeon, before he left to set up a project called the HumanWisdom Project. And he's created the HappierMe app. So the HumanWisdom Project aims to help each person flourish and create a better future for all of humanity. Dr. Krishna's passion is to reduce suffering, help each person flourish, and make the world a better place. So they have some really great statistics. 85% of the users of HappierMe, their new app, report being happier, and 80% report being less stressed, which I think all of us could use a little bit. So please help me welcome Dr. Krishna.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Anne. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to see you here today. Just thrilled to have you here and share your beautiful passion and energy with the viewers and listeners today. And so let's jump right in. So you're a social entrepreneur, and I'd love to know, in your opinion, what is it about social entrepreneurship that makes it a powerful tool for change?
Well, I think there's certainly so much suffering in the world that needs addressing. So many challenges. And I guess dedicating one's life to addressing these challenges in one form or the other can be really rewarding. And I think that's really one of the big reasons for being a social entrepreneur, trying to bring social change, impact at scale, trying to make a living from it at the same time, but it's doubly rewarding because you're obviously making an impact, or you're trying to make an impact in the world.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And yes, and I think that's what gets me excited about social entrepreneurship as well, is it can be for profit. And sometimes, as we've talked to some guests recently, there can be cooperation with nonprofit, but there is a power to a for-profit social enterprise because it's helping everyone at every level become better, make more money, kind of leading by example, if you will. And I think social entrepreneurship has a huge potential to change the way we do things in the world from a strictly charity-based model of the past. I know I worked for many years with nonprofits, mostly as a volunteer, so wasn't getting paid. So yeah, it really does depend on how you've arranged your world to make that social impact. I think that one of the ways that social entrepreneurship is even more beneficial is because you lead the way by making money from a simple process. We could go back to chopping wood or baking bread as opposed to just donations. Not that that's bad, but the more you get involved in the actual work as opposed to just giving money, the more you get involved in the on-the-ground work, making a profit, teaching others how to be healthier and happier and make a profit for themselves, the more satisfying it is, and the more relationships you develop. It's a lot different from just sending a check.
Obviously, it's your business, so your passion for it is multiplied, I think, manyfold over. Maybe you can't generalize, of course. These things
Yeah.
are very individual. But I don't think there's anything wrong in doing a project that makes a profit, because that's the only way it can grow and sustain itself and sustain the people who are working for it. The key is the quality of the project and what impact it's having. As you know, many nonprofits run projects that may not have the actual impact, though on paper it looks very nice, you see. I mean, look at all the aid the billions that are spent on aid around the world and how ineffective that is on the ground. There's so many reports that talk about that, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So I think more accountability, more transparency is critical for either side of the endeavor making social impact, but also in social entrepreneurship. And a lot of people don't realize that now there's a lot of funding available for social entrepreneurship, when they used to think the only way you could get a grant was if you're a nonprofit. So even from the economic divisions of countries and governments, there is this particular desire to stimulate their economy to make it stronger, as opposed to just be receiving charity. So, well, let's jump ahead just a little bit, because I want to ask you a couple more questions for our first commercial break. So, but what does your nonprofit business create that is making a social impact?
Okay, so we've got an app called HappierMe, and it's essentially a self-awareness app that helps people manage their own mental health, have happier relationships, overcome and avoid addiction, and develop all the soft skills you need to flourish in the world. Essentially, it's about understanding, questioning your own thinking, so you live with clarity. You understand your emotions, so you're emotionally intelligent, and you make better choices in life. So many of us make choices which don't really serve us in the long term, whether it's addiction or relationships or the types of work we do and so on. So this deeper understanding of ourselves really helps us to be in charge of our own life. Otherwise, our past runs our life for us, you see.
Yes, that is the great risk, isn't it? And I know you mentioned addiction. So in addition to addiction, what are some of the other social problems that you're using this app to help solve?
Okay, so for example, stress affects 80% of people. Anxiety, 20 to 40%. And now we know that stress and anxiety together, along with depression, which is 10%, our lack of mental health affects our physical health too. So that may be one reason why 80% of all primary care visits in America to a GP, a physician, are linked to stress in some way. So that's a huge problem to solve, not just to make us feel better, but also for our own physical health. 50% of our relationships are in disarray for one reason or the other, or maybe more than that. When I say it's 50%, people say it's much more than that. 20% of marriages are abusive. 17% of young people are self-harming. And the CDC, which is Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, national institution, said 57% of girls in America are persistently sad. 76% of employees, according to the US Surgeon General, have a mental health problem. And you can imagine the impact of that on productivity. So all of these problems can be addressed by understanding their origin, which is our own thinking. If a car breaks down, you study the engine to figure out where the problem is. Once you figure that out, then solving it is easy. So you need to address the root cause. And the root cause of all these problems is our thinking. So that's what the HappierMe app is doing, helping you to think clearly and make better decisions for your life.
Wow. That is so exciting. I can't wait to find out more from you. We're going to pause for just a minute to take our first commercial break, and we're going to come back and hear more about HappierMe and also more about Dr. Krishna's personal story and how he moved from becoming a spine surgeon to an app creator. So more on that in just a few seconds. We'll be right back. Global Socialpreneurs is brought to you in part by Positive Talk Radio, KKNW 1150 AM in Seattle. Check them out at www.positivetalkradio.net. I'm here today talking with Dr. Manoj Krishna about what he's doing as a social entrepreneur with his app, HappierMe, to help make the world a better place and solve a myriad of mental and emotional challenges that affect our relationships, families, marriage, job, company productivity, so many things in life, from people being sad, from having anxiety, stress, depression. So I'm excited to hear more about what he's doing with the app today. But first of all, I'd love to hear just a little bit more. How did you come from a career of many years in spine as a spine surgeon to become an app creator?
Well, my intention was never to create an app. I think I got into medicine because I wanted to reduce suffering. And as a surgeon, I could do that beautifully. But I also had this deeper understanding ticking away. I was curious about myself. And the more I investigated and inquired into myself, I realized, oh my goodness, there's a deeper understanding of our own mind that can help prevent problems, you see. Nobody talks about prevention, Prevention is so much easier, right? It's like telling the drowning man, now I'm going to teach you how to swim. It's too late, you see. You've got to learn beforehand, which is why this deeper understanding is like learning to swim. So when the challenges of life come, you're ready, you can deal with them much more effectively. But a few years ago, I was driving home from work. A hospital got bombed in the Middle East, and the kids were screaming on the radio. And I just thought we human beings need to do better. We have the wisdom in the world to do better. So I transitioned out of medicine. I started working with children in schools and colleges and discovered to my amazement, they already have this inner wisdom, but nobody draws it out of them, you see. We keep thinking education is about stuffing what's in our head into their heads. But actually, it's about drawing out from them their own inner wisdom, which is actually in every child and every adult in the world. And because I could see that this could not only help prevent suffering, but solve some of the biggest problems humanity faces, then you can't keep quiet with that understanding. Then you have to step out into the world. And that's why I left medicine to start the HumanWisdom project. And then I thought the app is the best way of disseminating that information. And so we created the HappierMe app for adults, and the one for teenagers is coming in January.
Oh, that's so exciting. That's right. And then, so you have one for adults. The teenage one is coming soon. So before HappierMe, you had, what was the other organization? I'm sorry.
It was the organization is called HumanWisdom. So
HumanWisdom. Sorry, it disappeared out of my notes. So HumanWisdom. So the app is the extension of HumanWisdom. Was HumanWisdom, the organization, was that based particularly around education for all ages or specific ages, or how did that develop?
So the aim of HumanWisdom is actually the same as for HappierMe, but the organization is called HumanWisdom, but the product we've developed is called HappierMe. But the aims of the two organizations are the same, which is really to reduce suffering, to help give each person the tools to live a really rich life without emotional, trauma and so on, and to flourish in the world. And in doing so, if I can live in peace with myself and with the people in my life, I can contribute to peace in the world. The lack of peace in the world is because we don't live in peace with ourselves. And therefore we don't have peace in our relationships, right? So many relationships are unhappy because we're unhappy in ourselves. So if we can learn how to be happier in ourselves, that's the beginning of the revolution the world needs.
That's so beautiful. I absolutely love that. And I resonate, viewers will know too, I resonate so much around the combination of my own two passions, which is helping prevent suffering and also learning to tap into wisdom, to our more intuitive side.
Yes.
With global socialpreneurs and the work I do with that, it's really about helping people get organized in their efforts to help prevent suffering and create solutions. And also in my Focus Meta Mindset project. So I love what you're doing because it ties in so well. Focus Meta Mindset is basically what you're talking about, which is inner wisdom for business people specifically, and that you don't always have to do things the way everyone else says you have to do them. But when you talk about inner wisdom, I think you're at an even deeper level. How do you define that inner wisdom and what it looks like when someone's actually connecting?
Okay, so let me give you an example. It's just based on 3 simple steps. Say I'm angry. Simple, common thing, right? The first step is to be aware that I'm angry. The second step is really hard, which is to take ownership of my own anger and say it's not Anne's fault, it's not my fault, it's just something that's happening in my brain, and I'm curious. And the third step is to ask a question. Hey, what's behind this anger? Then I realize, oh, it's an unmet expectation. Where does that expectation come from? Well, it comes from my own mind. See? So actually, my own mind has created the expectation, which has created the anger. Do you understand? Then I ask another question. Where does that expectation come from? And then I realize, it probably comes from my childhood. Like my mom did all the cooking, so I expect Anne to do all the cooking if we're in a relationship. You see what I mean? So once you've figured all that out and it becomes really clear, then you realize, your mind is creating the suffering you're experiencing without your own awareness. You see? Once you see that clearly, then you go deeper. You begin this journey of learning about your own mind, and it leads to freedom. Then you can live with compassion, with goodness, with love, at peace with yourself, with others. I mean, it's so beautiful. But that realization is so important, that we are the architects, in many cases, I'm not saying all cases, in many cases, of our own lack of ease, our own suffering, our unhappiness, and so on.
And what I love about, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And yes, what I love about the app is it really guides you into discovering your own ease in little incremental steps.
Yes.
Because it sounds like a lot at the beginning. And so many of us, it was even, we're all programmed, right? We all were born into the world and we're programmed by the people around us, by expectations, by societal norms, by cultural norms, all those many, many, many things that have made us the individuals we are today in many ways. But it's also silenced that organic inner wisdom, joy that you see in a child who's just operating on the most basic instinct. And when they're happy, they're happy. When they're sad, they're sad. When they're very present, as opposed to us, we tend to live so often with kind of a mask on, pushing through life, trying to survive, as opposed to getting back to that authentic self, to peeling back the layers of the onion, if you will, is what you're helping people do as they progress through the app. So share with people, our viewers, a little bit more about the app itself. I know as I've used it, I've really enjoyed it so far. And starting with the most basic question, and then you're guided to where that would take you. And you're constantly guided and prompted to go deeper, or you can back out and say, I thought I was mad, but I think I'm more sad. I'm going to go this direction, and just in that kind of self-discovery. So share a little bit more about how the app is working.
You use that word beautifully, Anne, self-discovery. So the app is not a preacher. It's helping you, giving you the tools to go on a journey of learning about yourself, how your mind works, discovering your own light so you can shine in the world. Right? And it starts off very simply by helping you feel better now. And then when you feel better, it says, hey, do you want to feel better next week and next month? Do you want to understand the root cause of why you're unhappy? whatever that word might be, why you're suffering. Why don't you begin that journey of learning? And as you go deeper and you understand the deeper layers of your own thinking, that's where we develop compassion. Because I realize, just as, say, you're Republican, I'm Democrat, and we're at war with each other. If we pause, both pause in us, why are we doing this? We realize we're just conditioned. We weren't born with this. It's just our particular experiences that made us and shaped our thinking. But once we realize all of us are conditioned, and yet we are attached to that conditioning without our awareness, you see, that's the key thing, no awareness. The moment you become aware of it, you realize, oh my God, Anne's just read a different storybook to Manoj. That's all it is. We don't have to be that attached to it. Actually, we're the same human being underneath. So that process brings compassion. And then the app also has podcasts and live events and stories. And there's tons of stuff in there. There's an online journal, videos, lots and lots of content. I encourage everyone, because it costs nothing. Download HappierMe, have a good look around, see whether it fits with what you want in your life, from your life.
And I love that. And that is a model that so many social entrepreneurs are using, whether they're baking bread or creating jobs or creating containers to carry clean water, or they're developing. We talked to another developer of an app recently who was creating mapping areas for social entrepreneurs and social enterprises so we can help support each other's businesses in that regard. And so again, this model is you create a gift for the world that's free, that they can have access to, find some comfort, find some relief, find some guidance. And then there's always, the upgraded levels, right?
Yes.
So it's not kept from anyone. They can always upgrade, and that's where the for-profit part of the business comes in. So it's being run like a business for profit. And I know in my own business, one of the ways that I also keep it as a social entrepreneurship is by working with paying clients. Then I can afford to continue doing these projects, as well as offer scholarships to startup social entrepreneurs who don't have the resources to get the training and education they need. So it's a beautiful model, giving away for free and then using a structured business, exchanging value for value to make money.
And the cost is minimal. It's like 1 cup of coffee or 1.5 coffee a month, less than 10 cents a day or 20 cents a day. So it's absolutely nothing for what you really want in life, which is every human being wants to be happy.
Yeah.
Right? And
So
we
true.
think our happiness will come from all the things we do in the world, the money we make and how famous we become and so on. But actually that doesn't follow, you see. What really brings you happiness is your own inner journey. And that's where the HappierMe app comes in, helping you and supporting you in that process. And every penny we make, we reinvest. So, we're always developing new content. For example, a day after, we're having a big global event on healing past trauma. 70% of people have suffered past trauma, and that impacts their mental health and relationships, but they don't know what to do about it. So we're offering, and that's a free event, for example. Everyone, the whole world is welcome to come and join that. So,
well, I have it on my calendar. I'm looking forward to being there. We're going to take our second commercial break real quick and then come back for a few more minutes of this very peaceful and relaxing conversation. Just good energy, sharing this virtual room with us. We'll be right back with Dr. Manoj Krishna and have a little bit more after this. Hi, I'm Anne Scottlin. Are you one of those people who always wants to aim higher? Would you like to increase your profits and your personal fulfillment at the same time? And wouldn't you love to make a greater impact in your business and your life? If your answer is yes to any of those, find out more and send me a message at annescotland.com/special. I would love to work with you. All right, we're back again for our last few minutes. Wish there was more with Dr. Manoj Krishna talking about his social entrepreneurship, the app he's building and has built that's out there, HappierMe, the difference that it is making in helping people fight a whole host of social challenges and problems, from depression, anxiety, anger, sadness, loneliness, to find their inner wisdom, to find that part of them that isn't damaged but is still pure. And I think that's what a lot of us see in ourselves. We see so much of the damage. We get caught up in our story, and we don't always realize that there is something really beautiful and pure deep down that we still have access to in that sort of childlike way. So share a little more, whatever's on your heart, I guess, around how that is helping people and how you encourage us to use the app or find those solutions.
Okay. Well, part of the problem comes from education, because we're all educated only about the world around us, but not about ourselves. And everything we want to learn is on our phone anyway. So I think one of my big passions is education needs to change, to reform. And self-knowledge needs to be part of the curriculum, no matter what you're studying, where you are in the world, whether you're in kindergarten or university, because that is what helps you lead a happier and healthier life. See, and this understanding is simple. Every child gets it, so every adult can get it. You don't need to be clever or have a degree to have this understanding. It's like you don't need a degree to learn to swim. You just need to get in the water and start and get going. Maybe you need a coach just to help you, guide you in the early stages, which is what HappierMe is doing. It's supporting you, holding your hand while you're learning, if you like, to swim. But instead of swimming, you're just taking this inner journey of learning about yourself. So I'd encourage everyone to take that first step, which is most important, even though it might feel a little unfamiliar, especially for men. They're so tough and, I don't have any emotions and all of that stuff. Hey, you're just a human being like everyone else. Take that first step. You've only got one life to live. Life is gone in a blink of an eye. Make the most of it. And with this deeper understanding, you can live in peace with yourself, with others, and do something to help make the world a better place, which is so crying out, as you know, for compassion, for goodness, for agents of change, who not only believe or want something for their own lives, but also care about humanity as a whole. And I'd love for more people to join our project, people who care about the future of humanity as a whole, because we need more people to join us to make that change.
That's amazing. And also, as agents of change, which I love that phrase and use it myself. As agents of change, a lot of people who might be watching this show are thinking, for a long time, I've wanted to get more involved in creating social or environmental impact. But I have a job, I have a family, I don't have extra time, I don't have extra money. And yet you found a way by looking for opportunities of need. What kind of encouragement would you give to people who are looking to find that way to give back and make change?
When you first start, when the first seed of the idea is born in your mind, whatever it might be, there will be 100 thoughts which come along and say why it can't be done. And the moment you talk to people, there'll be 100 people telling you why it can't be done, right? But you've just got to push all that aside and say, what's the first thing I can do if I wanted to do it? Take the first step. When you take the first step, the way opens, you see. My first step, I was in a school, and a head teacher said to me, would you like to talk to the kids? I said, I don't know how to talk to the kids. He said, no, go on, talk to kids. So these 6-year-olds trooped into the room, and I started talking to them. And I realized, my God, they're the same human being I am. And they already have this inner wisdom. When you ask a group of 6-year-olds, how can you make the world a better place? Every hand goes up. Every hand goes up. You ask a room full of adults, what can you do to make the world a better place? Not a single hand will go up because they think, oh my God, like you said, I've got a job, I've got this, I've got that. Do you see what I mean? So we need to discover that sense of possibility that we had as children, where we could do anything we wanted. And you still can as adults. You're only limited by your own thinking. So if you can understand your thinking, you can be free of all those limitations and really make the most of your life and flourish in the world.
That's so beautiful. And thank you so much for those inspiring words. And I think you're right. I think it's also so much about, finding your own inner wisdom, your groundedness, your vision, clarifying your sense of direction. What's more important, a new fancy car or just a good functional car? And you can be making a bigger difference in other people's lives. It's not that there's a right way and a wrong way, but there's so much opportunity for us to make these individual choices for ourselves, for children, for the next generation, really leading by example, because I think we have a credible opportunity at the present time to start being those agents of change, to create new systems in the world, new habits, new ways of thinking, especially with the young people, and educating the parents too, to think differently, to think of what it is that connects us as a whole, which is that inner pure wisdom, whether you want to call it higher mind or power or God or just your gut instinct, whatever that is. We all are connected by that as living beings. It's a part of us that is nature, that is connected to nature, if our own born instinct, if you will. So connecting to that is such a beautiful opportunity to connect us all to each other. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about social entrepreneurship and any impact program that is helping people, helping the world, and that's connecting us in a more active way. Wow, our time has gone so quickly. Dr. Manoj Krishna, everybody, please check out his app, HappierMe. I've been on it. I've been enjoying it thoroughly. You can find more information in the notes, or you can go online or on your phone and just download it for free, HappierMe.com. And for all of you who are watching and our regular viewers, please share this with your friends. Share this show with other people who could really benefit from some encouragement on how they can make an impact, and get inspired by the amazing guests we have today, like Dr. Krishna and others. And let us know how we can help support you. And in the meantime, please do share. And if you know someone who would be an incredible guest on this show, drop me an email. It's right on my website, AnnScottlin.com, or you can go to globalsocialpreneurs.com and just go to the contact page. Drop me an email, and I would be happy to see if that's something that might be a good fit. Thank you so much, Dr. Krishna, for being with us here today, bringing your joy, your energy, your positivity to, and hope and vision for a better, happier future. It's such a gift that you're giving to the world.
Thank you, Anne. You put it beautifully. Thank you.
And thank you to all of you. We'll be streaming again next week. That's going to be Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern Standard, 5 GMT. And we will see you then. And in the meantime, as always, be kind to someone else today and be kind to yourself. Bye. See you next time.
Thank you.